Welcome once more to a glorious Sydney Harbour on the 12th of November 2017 for race 6 of the Sprint Series for the 18-footers. The breeze is in from the east at about 8 to 10 knots, and we're going to have a easterly course by the look of it, and it's, as I mentioned, a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, and we're sure for some excellent racing. I'm aboard the Camera Cat. I'm Peter Shipway, and with me Warwick Rooklin as our skipper, and two former world champions. We welcome Steve Quigley today, and of course our old friend Andrew Buckland. So Andrew, we might bring you in first to give us an overview of the weather.
Well, Pete, I think you've nailed it. Sparkling day on Sydney Harbour. Driven by, though, big high pressure cell down in the midsummer location, centre of that to the east of Tasmania, in fact. So a little bit unusual here, but good gradient easterly wind. Probably a smear of sea breeze on top. A little bit of flood tide, quite weak for the duration of the race. And the wind might just build a fraction, sea breeze effect, and we might see 8 to 14 over the course of the day.
Okay, well, all the boats are on their big rigs. Now, Warwick, give us your overview of the day, and who you see might be poking their nose out as a bit of a favourite.
Well, it's been interesting, Pete. We've had 5 races in this spring 3-boy handicap championship, so that's obviously showing the handicaps are working well. We've got 2 races to go. Back on, as Bucko said, the Eastleigh, which is normally very, very tricky, but a little bit more pressure than what we're normally been seeing. I kind of like with the handicap they got today to give Triple M a shot at the race win, and I think there's about 4 boats in there that could potentially win this spring series.
Okay, well, Warwick, just explain for those that might be new to our telecast how that 3-boy system actually works.
Okay, so basically, back in the day, they used to allocate a handicap, and they would be a staggered start, where now for the last few years what they do is actually have a scratch start, so all starting together is a normal yacht race. But then when they get to the top of the course at the end of the Windward Beat, there's 3 marks that are laid down, and then depending on your handicap you're allotted a different mark or a mark for each time you go around. So the scratch boats, the highest performing boats, generally have to, they have to travel the furthest, and then the guys on the highest handicaps, they travel the shortest distance. So we'll sort of try and let people know in the relevant pack what marks they have to go to as we get up the top end of the course.
Okay, well, just looking at the point score, as you mentioned, after 5 races, it's very tight. Finport Trade Finance is leading on 15 points. Lumix is next on 18, with Appliances Online also on 18, and then 2 boats, Smeg and Yandu on 20, Rag and Famish 21, Kitchen Maker 23, and Quality Marine Clothing 24. So all very, very close, and today's race will be a good test, because it's certainly not survival conditions. It's a good boat speed test. But so I mentioned earlier, Steve Quigley joining us today. Steve's normally on the water sailing the Kitchen Maker, but he's having a well-earned rest, and Scott Babbage is taking over as helmsman today on the Kitchen Maker. And Steve, just give us an overview of your thoughts on the race today.
I think it's a champagne sailing day on Sydney Harbour, Pete. Looking up the course, there's a nice 12 to 14 knot nor'easter. There goes the 5-minute gun. I think it should be a great day. We've got a few stars missing that are off at the 16-foot skiff championships this weekend, so that'll make it a little more difficult for some of the crews. But all in all, I think it should be a fantastic race.
Okay, well, we'll talk to you during the day, Steve, as your role with the 18-footers now. It's a youth development role to try and encourage more younger sailors into the class. So as the day goes on, we'd like to get your view on how that's all progressing. But at the moment, I think the signals are up, and the start's in the vicinity of Robertson Point and Athol Bight, for those that know the harbour, and they'll go upwind into towards Rose Bay. And as Warwick said, on the 3-buoy system, Some will go to the first mark, some the second, and some to the third. And by the end of the race, it'll all be equalised out. And first over the line is the winner. So
looks like the breeze has gone a little bit softer and a little bit further left in the last minute, Pete. Sort of coming down in sort of waves of pressure. It's not going to be straightforward, this, as the easterly never is.
Sydney Harbour's always straightforward, was?
Ah,
Not.
just looking at Smeg, what I can't see on our monitor, what we're looking at, but just on our left there, Smeg has Michael Coxon steering and Dave O'Connor on the sheet. The boys that won the World Series last year, they're taking a break. Dave's been doing a bit of 49er sailing overseas. Cocko's just been enjoying himself, and as Quiggs just said, a few of the guys at the 16, so Lee Napton and those boys off doing the 16-foot skiff states.
So was just looking at the line here, fair bias to the committee boat.
Yeah.
And we've often observed it can be tricky to get out of the left edge here. The buoy end of the line. So
tide, Andrew. Give us the tide, please.
Weak flood, Pete. So not the biggest deal. The biggest deal here is if you can get out of here clean on port, lifting on the left edge from the sort of way the flow goes over the top of the headland at Bradley's Head. And the guy that can get out of here first on port probably will lead to the first mark. Or lead the pack at least, should I say. So, Shippers, we didn't go through the pick the podium, though.
Okay. Well, I'll wait you start.
No, I think Was started already.
I've gone Triple M.
He's got the Triple M. We're allowed 2 picks, okay? So, and I'm only going to take one. I can only recommend one other, which would be, I think Appliances Online might be able to get the job done today.
Okay, Steve, would you like to have a go at pick the podium?
Bucko just got my favourite, so I'm going to have to choose 3.
Is it?
I'm
You
going
go for 3.
AOL, Triple M, and the Kitchen Maker.
Yeah, well, the
Okay,
kitchen
you better
I'll
maker.
go the
what-
trifecta.
You gotta
How's
back-
that
you gotta
for
back-
being out there?
Broken the rules already, mate.
You got to back your young bloke, and Scotty just back for the America's Cup.
Come
Working for-
on, Shippers. You only got to find one. It's hard.
Well, hang on, you blokes are going for 2 and 3.
I only picked one. Mr. Quigley's a guest. He's allowed a bit extra.
Okay, I will go, although he's got a pretty big handicap. I'll go for 2. Kitchen Maker and Smeg.
Yeah.
Okay, just under a minute 30 to go, boys.
And Mr. Chittenden just alerted us to the issue of the boat stacking up at the windward end. The committee has made it hard to go to the pin, and the whole fleet is pretty much racked up towards the boat end, except for Finport, Triple M, Vintech, and Quali Marine Clothing. 1 minute.
Yeah, well, Smeg, they're approaching, doing a port approach. I think probably got it in shot. And now pull their bow down 48 seconds. So I imagine with that tactic they'll be looking to tack pretty soon, and they tack right now and want to lead the pack back to the pin with Finport. 30 seconds. Yandu a little bit there, very second row there. They won't get out of there. Vintech second row.
Yando's already racing by a long way, mate. And Breeze is left at the pin, so the pin is really seriously favoured right now. Madness, isn't it? Big left-hander in the last minute 30. Good
Ooh, Ilve potentially over. If they let them go.
No, they called Ilve back, I think.
Okay. Okay, individual recall. Let's see if we can see the numbers.
And I think Ilve would know.
Yeah, they were well over. And they know it, so they go back.
Only half a boat length, was.
Yeah, he just pulled the trigger a few seconds early. So Ilve coming back, and there's another boat in the mid-fleet coming back as well. Can we just identify who that is?
Yes, so Vintech got bounced out of their ASCO. Triple M, my pick, they've got bounced out. Finport's also went back, it says.
Yeah, so 2 went back, and we're away.
So Appliances Online
Leads out of the windward end.
Smeg not too bad coming back. A lot of boats trying to get out of that left-hand corner. It's all pretty congested. The Kitchen Maker, Noakes Youth, Noakes Sailing, Quality Marine Clothing, Rag and Famish. Whoa, we've got a problem on Panasonic. I don't know if we've got it on screen. We've got a man half overboard, just trying to get back on. I don't know if he's broken trapeze wire or just missed. Okay, now he's back. He's good. All good.
The appliance boys will be feeling happy with themselves there. They've got to the puff, fully cranked.
Yeah.
Slower boat to leeward. Happy days.
Yeah, Brett Van Munster, 2 new guys to the class out of the lake.
See, they bring some enthusiasm, those 2 boys too, don't they?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Quality Marine Clothing having a shocker. Missed that. Nearly in backwards. So very tricky, very puffy.
So Smeg's the first to go hard right. He's just tacked back to engage back in the fleet now on the starboard, but he'll be amongst the leaders with appliances online at this early stage. And there's a heap of boats up here on the left-hand side of the course. Kitchen Maker, Rag and Famish.
Oh, a bit of ferry action as well. Horns going. The
Ferry.
fast ferry. That's pushed Smeg back.
Ferry, ship, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Spectators, madness.
It's
There's the ferry we're talking about that pushed Smeg back onto port. He's now got to engage in a small tanker that's moving down the harbour, and he'll engage with that shortly as well by the look of it.
So Kitchen Maker looking like they're on the podium here too, Steve.
They're looking good so far. I like my top 2 picks, AOL and the Kitchen Maker. Triple M didn't get off the line all that well, but Scotty's doing an awesome job there.
Yeah, no, they're looking pretty composed as well.
Just tickled into the left a bit there. It's helping these boats that went left. Asco's Rag and Famish are in the mix as well.
so a drag race out to the right now.
Just been a drag race both ways, really was, hasn't it? You know, like the top 6 boats have sort of left the fleet behind nearly.
We can't quite see it in vision yet, but there's a tanker going down the harbour, leaving the harbour. That's going to make things a little bit interesting. Already Smeg's had to tack because of that tanker.
Appliances online. I don't know if we're in shot there, but they look as if they
Got across, have they?
got across. That'll be big. Yep, he's across, I think.
There's the tanker we're talking about.
He's got just slightly better VMG than the 18-footer fleet, but not by much. No, he's not.
He is across.
Is he? Steve?
Yeah, it's close. He's taking it on.
If he's not across, he's certainly taking it on.
He gets a blast from the skipper.
Because that ship's going to be turning left big time
Yeah.
any second now.
Got there.
He's done the job, mate.
He has.
Yeah,
Very well
Bryce-
done. Very
yeah.
well.
He's a pretty cool customer,
That's a big
Mr. Van
one.
Munster, isn't he, though? He very not able to be flapped.
So as we look at it now, we've got Appliances Online leading from Rag and Famish and the Kitchen Maker. The Kitchen Maker's probably second. They're back on starboard going in towards Bradley's Head.
Looks a bit more pressure in the left to me also, Pete.
Yeah, nice breeze here at as we are off Bradley's Head. Good steady 8 to 10 knots, 8 to 9 knots.
Here's the problem. Best wind is here, but because of the right-hand air coming out of Rose Bar, you have to get right somehow.
Yeah.
Just structural and difficult.
But sort of where they are now, like, or they go another 100 metres, when they attack, they're going to sort of come into that south of Point Piper, at the beginning of Point Piper.
So a huge split, Andrew.
Yeah, but the early cross that you know that plus the line has probably will be an advantage to them to be across to that side in the early part of the right-hand air.
And I just make out, I don't know, we're looking at the rag at the moment, but just behind the rag, I can let you know Ilve, who had to go back, remember, they've actually come back pretty well considering.
Well, they didn't get tangled up with any of the guys down the other end.
Yeah, right.
It's sort of like
exactly.
the chaos in the middle of the fleet.
Yeah, that left-hand chaos.
Yeah. And they would have confidence about their speed through the water from last week, I would have thought.
Well, they sailed a good race, didn't they?
Yeah, but they were competitive in a straight line, definitely, yeah.
Ow!
Left, mate. How's that rear view mirror was?
Definitely required, Bucko, and it's coming.
It's coming, yeah.
I'm going to put a big one in the centre. It's dodgy.
Steve, just funny bit of wind here at Bradley's Head, a little puff and then a big hole, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, my guys on the kitchen maker got forced to the left by that fuel tanker. And Brett Van Munster's got sole access to the right, which, as you said, is the favoured way to go. So,
all right, mate, you're a betting man. How much does Appliances lead by here?
I think they look a little soft and low coming out of there. They haven't got into the good part of the geography yet, but they're not looking fabulous.
Well, the good part of the geography is about 100 yards in front of them, or now. If you look now,
yeah, no, they're off now. I think they'll be a comfortable cross.
Comfortable cross by
4 boat lengths.
Yeah, and just on screen, we're not
More
seeing,
than that, mate.
we're not seeing any of that.
All right.
We're not seeing any of that,
Are we?
by
Sorry,
the
what?
way. And so we've got Yandu and Smeg, which is maybe 40 metres behind the leader. And also in that corner, I think out of shot, is Vintech. So we're going to get the crosses coming. We're going to get the left part of the fleet. Whoa, and that ship has just played havoc with your boat, Steve. They are fully becalmed for about 10 seconds. Rags copped it as well.
The aerodynamic features of the ship got everybody.
Yeah, big suction,
Yeah.
vacuum. Okay, so
Ilvy's going to be fourth here, was?
Okay, well, we're looking here at Yandu and Smeg. They've gone into the Point Piper shore.
Vintech, Pete.
Vintech, I'm sorry, Vintech. Yandu's done quite well. He got a terrible start, John Winning, but he's wriggled his way through. Off screen though, we're looking at the Kitchen Maker and Rag and Famish, who punched left early, and they came off the Bradley's Head shore and they look pretty good at the moment. The Kitchen Maker. Appliances Online came back to engage. He didn't like what he saw and he's gone back on port, and he's just in front of Vintech.
So the guys out of the left, Pete, are probably going to lead. Vintech's actually chipping away, got closer to Appliances in that last little sector, but I think the Kitchen Maker and Rags may have done enough to be in the lead of this race.
Bloke that's done well is Yandu. He's smoked along the shore.
Yes.
He's just tacked on to starboard to come back. He'll be about 4th or 5th. So now we've got to work out which buoy they all go to, which will make things interesting.
Well, Vintech goes to the first mark, so the closest mark the first time. Vintech has rights over Kitchen Maker, so they move into maybe second place.
I think Appliances is still in front, was it?
Are they?
It's a bit tricky, but you know, Woody's
Well,
going
it all changes, doesn't it, so quickly now?
Yandu's going to come off the other shore and be.
Yeah, they look pretty good there.
Well, they look great, don't they? powered up, and Appliances is in front of Yandu.
Yeah, we're on Appliances now.
Or was at least.
Yeah, well, this all changes around very quickly in this area part of the harbour, doesn't it?
Still just enough, as Quick said, just enough north of Eastern up here that it's feasible to be left.
Woody's been the big maker.
Amazing from where he was.
Done extremely well there. I've got him in front of Munster.
Well,
In fact, I think the Rag's in front of Munster.
I think they've been doing some tweaking, and they're certainly faster through the water than they were last week.
Absolutely, yeah. No, they've done some tweaking on their rig, and there's a lot more depth in the bottom middle sections that you can see.
Well, visibly from here, I'd say their jib's as fat as I've seen.
Yeah, I think it's a new jib this year. Probably a different mould shape from Nick. It's going well.
Getting tricky up here now, Andrew.
Yeah.
Not at all, Pete. We've got it on a string on the camera cat. No worries.
Yeah, it's down pressure and some big shifts.
And right hand. So Appliances plugged away on the right, kept going back until he got what he thought he was looking for. But I think he will be leading fairly readily.
Yep, and Smeg. Yeah, I think we've got that group there. Smeg's coming out of there well.
So the big thing here is that Appliances will go to the Blue Boy, which is the second one.
The middle mark, yeah.
The middle boy, that's right. And then Yandu and Vintech and the Kitchen Maker will all go to the first mark, the red mark. So that's going to be a huge advantage to those guys.
Yeah.
And Rag will go to the red mark as well. So in the leading group, 3 of them are going to go to the first mark. And Appliances on line, he's got to stagger up to the middle mark. So any advantage he's got is going to be quickly negated because of the different marks that they're going to.
Okay, so what are we looking at, boys? We're still looking at the leader, Appliances on line.
Yeah,
So now a lot of the leading group have come back to the left where the other guys didn't do so well, you know, just marginally speaking, have gone back to the right. I've noticed Yandu, John Winning has punched back to the right and separated tacks with Appliances on line.
He was. I don't know if you saw it there, but Appliances on line going to a lot of trouble not to tack then.
Yeah.
To get out to the left-hand lay line, which the camera cat likes, but, you know, the fleet may not.
Yeah.
I like the Rag for first around. They're going around
They're
the
in,
red mark.
they're in great pressure, aren't they, Rags,
Yeah.
at the moment?
Yeah. Well,
Rag, Kitchen Maker, Yandu, all going around the first red mark.
as we would note, it gets progressively harder for the guy that's got to go 1 mark further up, gets less wind and more difficulty for the incremental distance. And the Rag actually leads Appliances on line there.
He's the leader on the water, that's for sure, and he's got the advantage of going to the first mark.
So Chitz's peak was a week early.
Yeah, they've done
I just
really
want to say
well,
a bit
Rags,
about the
haven't
Rag,
they?
Pete, if that's all right. They're one of our youth development squad members. Bryce Edwards, Jacob Broom and Rory Cox doing an awesome job for Pete Galigaris and the Rag this year.
Well, that's good. You know, he's a strong supporter of the class, Mr. Caligaros. So the old Appliances online just couldn't join the dots together for the whole beat there.
But considering where he was, Bucko, he's come out quite well. Like halfway up the beat, he was a fair way back.
Well, there's Yandu just tacking under Appliances because he's going to that first mark, Yandu, and Appliances got to soldier on to the second mark. But Rag's the leader. Spinnaker's up. He's on his way. Pressure's up and down still, Andrew.
Only 50%, mate. Nothing difficult about it at all.
And I don't know what are we looking at. Yeah, I think we're looking at Vintech there, but Yandu, even though they came around pretty soft, they've actually got a better angle out of there than Rags, and the Kitchen Maker even better again.
Yeah, so the order is around the mark was Rag, Yandu, the Kitchen Maker, and Kitchen Maker's done well. He came round a bit of a gust. He's got lower than the other two, but they'll be coming back on starboard when they engage with him. Lumix is next, and then Appliances Online has just gone round his middle mark, and then soldiering on to the top mark, or the furthest mark, is Smeg. So by going to that third and furthest distance mark, he gives a lot of distance away. So we're watching Ilve. He's fifth.
Passing Parade.
So majority are going to the shorter mark. That's a nice tangle at that mark, Bucko. Is that you working the bow on that boat, Bucko?
Could be.
Looks like the way he used to sail.
I was never much good in the bow, Pete. I'll be very honest.
So the Admiral up there. The Admiral, get the tangle out, Addy. What's going on?
No tangles with the Addy, you know that.
There we go. So that's Appliances Online with the white spinnaker. He's trying to get back in touch after going to that long middle mark.
He's done pretty well. He came around the mark with a good bit of pressure, and jibing now, and beautiful jibe. Wow. And the tail end is, as usual, making trouble for each other and themselves.
Yeah, and a bit of nice language to get.
Well, don't forget Smeg, who had to go to the furthest mark. They're just coming down now, and the angle that's put them on.
Smeg's going to be impaled on our bowsprit, was.
Oh,
Or
I hope not, mate.
Vice versa.
All right, then last around, by virtue of having well, they went to the middle mark, is Asco. So let's go down to the middle of this pack and see what we can pick up.
Well, it might be a chance to bring Steve Quigley in now. And Steve, just let's talk about your role, perhaps with the 18s now, to as far as youth development is concerned, and how that's all progressing for you.
Thanks, Pete. Well, as you know, I've been on the board for quite a few years, a couple of decades probably even now, after giving it away in the late 90s. And we went through a bit of a generational change last year with quite a few of our champion sailors, Coco and Marcus Ashley Jones and Jack McCartney and a few of the others deciding to take a bit of time off or pursue other sailing endeavours. And so we decided to invest in youth, which is always a good idea. So we've got quite a few youth teams this year. We actually started the year before because we could see this on the horizon. And I'm very happy to say that, you know, a lot of our youth teams, like as I mentioned before, the guys on the Coopers, Rag and Famish, Bryson, Rory and Jacob, it's their second year in it, but mate, they led to the Windward Mark then. You know, they beat Munster. So they're going really well, and James Ward on the Triple M is going really well. We've got Jack Sprague, who's also fairly new to it, with his team from Gosford. So generally we're just trying to encourage more youth teams in, give them decent boats and decent equipment, and mentor them through the first couple of years, which is always very difficult in an 8-input skiff, as you know. And we're very happy. We're investing in youth as a club. It's it's something that Woody's passionate about, and the rest of the board's passionate about, and it appears to be paying dividends.
So the club supply the boats, and you try and get the crews to get on those boats. Is that how it works? Or if someone is interested and they're a reasonable sailor, would the club give them a boat, or would they have to look for their own sponsors? How does that all work for you?
Well, it's probably the best deal in Australia, really. I mean, the club's in the fortunate position that we generate income from the bar and the pokies and our club activities, and we invest that in sailing. I mean, the club invests up to $500,000 every year back into the fleet. On a bad year, it's 200 or 300. So it largely finances the boats, that and the sponsorships. Of course, we're very happy to have all of our sponsors. But as a sailor, when you come in, it's an amazing deal. You know, we give you a boat that's worth about $100,000. You get a budget to run the boat each year. You get to buy 3 new sails each year, and you get equipment that's good enough that you can compete with the best. So, as far as I'm concerned, there aren't too many better deals around like that. I mean, I spent more money on my kids' Manly Juniors and Flying 11s than I spend on the 80-foot skiff every year. So, it's a great deal. So, if anyone's interested, you can get in contact with me or Simon Nern, who's the Commodore of the club, and make an application. We'll be happy to give it a go.
Well, Warwick, you and I might make a comeback. What do you think? Sounds too good to pass up.
Look, the only problem is, Ship, is Lenny Burke's not living in Australia anymore.
No, I think, Pete, you missed the first point. It's the youth development.
Yeah.
Youth development.
Well,
And it's old as you feel or young as you feel.
I've started training again, Bucko, so I'm on the comeback. I've had enough.
That sounds great, Steve. And I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, they just got a bit of squirrely wind, the kitchen maker on screen there.
So back on the race course, what have we got? We've still got the Rag leading quite comfortably. Stepped right out here, Andrew, hasn't he?
Yeah, had a nice passage down to the jibe mark, and he's cruising in the lead.
So we're on DeLonghi here, I believe.
He's
And if the people at home wonder why we're not sure, it's because our monitor in the sunshine is very difficult to see out on the boat.
I think we've got Smeg and DeLonghi there, Warwick. Yeah. They're coming into the jibe mark at Clark Island. The leaders have long gone. They're extending back down towards.
What was that?
As you said, that our leader actually nearly went in backwards. Geez, there's some big holes in this pressure.
I was just going to say, we've just seen a couple of bits of what we call volatility, wind just basically evaporating off the water surface. And a bit of traffic. The other thing I was going to say here was the middle pack we're looking at here from the second boat Kitchen Maker back to Ilvey. Appliance has got a big opportunity here. These guys are all going to fight each other down to the bottom mark.
Yeah.
And it just will be interesting to keep our eye on exactly the amount of trouble they cause each other, I think.
I think Chits can come around to the right a bit and pick up the Yandu, Vintec, Ilvey. Or they've actually got out of jail a bit because that ferry went behind them. So just crazy summer Sunday again.
Sydney Harbour at its absolute best.
Well, we've always said, that half the strategy in an 18-foot skiff on the weekend is traffic management.
Yeah, correct weight. So Shippers, the leader on a good header at the mark, no jibing needed. And this whole pack will just probably go to the mark in order now without too many jibes.
Triple M in shot, who jibed away. Behind, probably in about 7th spot. So we'll put the throttle down and try and catch up to our leaders. Not far, well, in fact, they just knock it off their chute now. And a good little battle just behind them with Kitchen Maker, Yandu, Panasonic Lumix, Ilvey, Vintec. All on a VMG run now, I believe. Well, the mark's quite high, actually.
Yeah, the leader has to drop about 200 metres away from the bottom mark and to sail up to it.
Yeah, I think they've dropped maybe a bit too late as well. Bucko, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, better late than early though.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of traffic though. A lot of traffic, a lot of difficulty.
We're focusing here on the battle for second because The Rag has really jumped away from this group, and he's going to have a very good lead. The second pod, as we call them, all going to have to jibe again to get into this mark.
I think they've gone to the wrong mark. Rag's gone to the wrong mark.
Hang on, there's a bit of controversy here.
No. I think we're okay.
There's two marks up here, and we're just wondering whether Rag's got the right mark. I think he has. He has, yeah. He's clear. He's around, and he's going to be a good 40 seconds or so in front here.
Yeah, just put the stopwatch on it.
Okay, he's on his way. He's standing in towards Cremorne.
So this is a good battle between the kitchen maker, Lumix Yandu, Appliances Online. Ilve has to flag. They're a lot more solid, Ilve, at the moment this season, I would say. Probably the best I've seen Ollie sail.
And
there's been a crash.
Yandu just crashed into each other.
Crash between Yandu and Appliances Online.
Oh dear.
I don't know if we picked that up.
Yeah, we're on it now.
Yeah.
Well, not good for Yandu. He was on port, Appliances on starboard, and a massive crash.
Yeah,
Appliances now going into the water.
Oh dear.
You'd think it's just a case he didn't see him.
Oh, Ilve's about to go in. Ilve's about to go.
Good puff here, really good pressure here.
Well, they saved that. They did well to save that. So this new pressure, Pete, has brought a few of them back up to this pack, haven't they?
So we're still on the crash between Yandu and Appliances. That
It's ugly.
wasn't pleasant. But at the top of the fleet, Rag and Famish keeps on keeping on. Kitchen Maker second. Lumix, your Panasonic third. Vintech 4, Ilve 5. Then the two Noakes boats, and then Triple M. Smeg coming down with good pressure. And there's a nice procession coming in as they... breeze is quite fresh again here at the point, Andrew.
But yeah, breeze is bent left and built a little. What we really need, though, Pete, is the audio of the in-water conference between Yandu and...
Yeah, if Woody was on starboard it'd be better, but I mean he was on port. I don't think he had too much.
It's just a bit
too
of
many rights there.
A bit of hesitation from both boats, and in the end, Appliances Online got his bowsprit into the wing netting of Yandu.
Well, Yandu's completely upside down now, and what's this breeze doing, boys?
Just gone back to the right where we are now. Amazing. And you know the beneficiary on the run was Rag. They got on the face of a nor'east puff. And as happens in this sort of structure, stayed on the face and just rolled away from the fleet, which got lifted and lighter.
So we got a good boat race, really. Yep. The leaders jumped away, but after that, there's plenty to play for all these guys.
See if everyone's all right after the crash.
So Steve, despite everything, you know, the Kitchen Maker fought its way back to second. They had a few moments on the run. They stayed upright though and avoided the worst. They looking all right.
Beautifully, I would have called it, Bucko. They almost went in twice backwards, but got to the bottom in good shape, and now they're in second. But the Rag did an awesome job. I thought they handled themselves beautifully.
Oh, well, leading the race has its advantages sometimes if you make the right choices.
Geez, there's some major holes. I just saw Lumix nearly going backwards, Panasonic nearly going backwards.
You guys all right? You all right?
Well, still Appliances Online and Yandu are upside down, and their race is effectively over. Vintech we're on to now. He's right in the mix.
So Ash has got Teddy Hackney out with him this weekend. Teddy's just arrived back in Australia after doing a full stint with Oracle in the engineering department for the America's Cup, and then just been doing some pro sailing over in the United States and some Melters 20s and things. But so he's come out for his first 8 and 18 for a very long time, looking very fit, got involved with the training with the athletes. So Panasonic Lumix, one of our race winners, Pete, in the series.
Yeah, well, he looks good. He's up in the left, and he's got a good left-hand slant here. He'd be third at the moment. So another long beat up into Rose Bay, and again there's 3 boys that they've got to go round depending on their handicap.
Well, the bit of north in this breeze is making this race quicker than what it would normally be. Starting a long port tack upwind.
So was your son might actually get on the podium today, the way he's sailing today.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of things correctly. And
Yeah.
and I think they're on the right side of this beat pretty solidly too.
Yeah. Got Jimmy Beck in the bow, used to sail with Woody, done many years.
The young fella, the
Yeah,
youth,
yeah.
youth development program in
Yeah.
full flight there.
So Ash is just having to rebuild his team, you know. I mean, Reese Mara's employed by Sean Langman, so he's sailing with Sean. And then the first pick, Daniel Nixon, he's gone off to do other things in life. And Ben's back at uni, I believe. So it's Quiggs has actually helped out there by bringing in Ollie Smith, who sails with them on the Wild Oats, but never been in 18. But he's apparently really enjoying it. Quiggs
He's a fantastic
Ash,
find. He's
yeah, and Ash
a
really
fine
enjoys
young
sailing with
gentleman
him.
and a hell of a sailor, and I think he's going to be really good.
There's some big ships looking up the course here.
Shipper's just going to say, have a look to the left that Vintex tack back towards the northeast.
But it's gone hard right down the track, hasn't it?
Yep, and hard left here.
Yeah, it's God, breezes all over the place. So Sean Langman just crosses Smeg. Michael Coxon on that today with Dave O'Connor, his crew from the winning the JJs last year.
Well, he's got a massive handicap because he goes to the furthest mark each time.
Yeah, right.
Smeg.
Yeah.
So he's done pretty well so far to get back in the mix, but don't forget at the top of the course there's 3 different marks: short, middle and long. Smeg's got to go long each time, and this time Rag and Famish, who's leading on the water, he goes to the first mark, or the shortest mark. Vindek and the Kitchen Maker have got to go to the middle mark. So that could again play in the favour of Rag and Famish.
A little bit of bump there for Smeg. So where's our scratch boat, Pete, you reckon, in pace-wise? Well, they're probably about 6th, aren't they, or 5th? So they keep plugging away. Maybe get a couple more places up this beat, then take the pain again at the top mark.
He's left hand here.
I think he's a bit better than 6th. He might be 4th or 5th.
Yeah, he's showing why he's a scratch boat, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Coco and Dave O'Connor not exactly poor substitutes, one would say.
No, not at all.
No.
So Smeg with the normally skippered by Lee Napton, who's away on 16-foot duties, and he won the JJ Gilton title 2 years ago. And at the helm this year, today is last year's winner, Michael Coxon, who steered Burlow Fisher Lawyers to victory.
And last year, Pete Lee and the boys had plenty on with new arrivals to the family, so I didn't put in the same amount of effort as I did the year before. So. What have we got there now? Is that Finport? Yeah, Finport just ahead and below of Smeg. Just going past Clark Island. Just let you know, Rags is still well ahead, and probably your boys, Steve, in second, the Kitchen Maker.
I think they're pretty comfortable second at the moment, if you can be comfortable in an easterly. We're just landing the drone here behind me, was it? But yeah, they've all elected to go over to the right, and it's a little soft in under there, so I'm not sure about their prospects on the way back. I actually don't mind what Sean Langman and Vintech have done. The two Noakes teams have gone out to the left in a bit more pressure, so they might come back in reasonable shape as well.
Here we go, big separation. Kitchen Maker v Vintech. Left and right edges respectively. Sorry, right and left edges respectively. Cooper's cruising in the lead though, yeah. Just cruising. Just cruising.
So what are we trying to pick up here? So let's go up and we'll get behind the Kitchen Maker and just have a look at their setup, and Quiggs can the same, we'll go up and have a look behind your boat and have a look at the setup so you can tune them up.
Yeah, that'd be great. We've got some a new mainsail on the big rig this year. Coco seems to have done a very good job for us. It's we haven't done anything to it yet. It's just straight out of the box, and from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. But we'll get Bucko's well-trained eye over it and see what he thinks.
Yeah, Steve, she's a bit of a privileged position, the Kamikaze. You get to look at all 22 rigs in one day. So it's geez, it's impressively light right where we are, where the Kitchen Maker is, and then a big line of wind coming from the right edge, but breeze on average gone left a little.
So what are you seeing there, Steve?
I think it looks pretty good from where I'm looking here. Maybe we're in an uprange puff at the moment. I was about to say it looks a little open in the head, but it's probably appropriate for their crew weight where they're going at the moment. But looks fairly clean to me. What do you think, Bucko?
Do you know what sort of rig settings they? Do you know what sort of rig settings they went out
when
with
they left the beach? We're at base. I don't know if they've adjusted it. They might have pulled the caps on a bit more because it was fairly fresh, but mid-leach seems to be hanging up okay. The head's nicely open. The jib looks pretty nice. It's the second season for the jib, and we've made it a bit flatter this year. We struggled uprange with it last year, so we cut a bit of luff round out, and it doesn't look too bad there. I think they're going all right. They're sheeted fairly wide on the track, which would indicate they think they're a little overpowered, but when they get further up in the bay, hopefully they'll pull the jib track up, and all in all, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, pretty good. They might have just taken away a bit of optionality with the flatter luff curve in the jib, so just might be a problem downrange and out of the tacks for them, that's all.
We've got a plan for that, and that's the levers. So we've got some levers coming next week which will enable us to adjust the rig. We'll get about 20 mils of adjustment in the rig, so we're hoping to be able to get a bit more luff sag when it goes soft.
I mean, that's the problem with these boats downrange, you know, 8 knots, come out of the tack, jib's too flat, nothing happens, does it?
No, they just invert, and it's very, very difficult to steer with them like that. But look, Scotty's doing a great job first time sailing with the boys. I think they've taken a bit out of the rag on this work. He's doing a fantastic job.
Well, effectively 2 new teams, isn't it? So their cohesion hasn't looked too bad. They were a bit shaky down the run at stages when the wind went all volatile, but nothing easy about coordinating these boats well in this very puffy, structurally difficult easterly. So I think you'd have to give them a pretty high mark, both these crews, I think.
Oh, absolutely, and Scotty's a fantastic sailor, and Tom and Sam are, they're doing an awesome job this year. It's their third year into it now. Started their 3rd year. Tom's still only 19, and he weighs about 64 kilos, wringing wet, and he's doing the bow, which is no mean feat. Sam's a 100 kilo ball of muscle. He's the hope of the side, really. But they appear to be getting on pretty well in the boat. It looks, I guess, as smooth as it can be. But these guys I'm particularly proud of as well. I mean, Jacob, Rory, and Bryce. Three kids that I coached through Manly Juniors and Flying 11s down at Cronulla Sailing Club.
Well, we can blame you for lots of things, mate.
Well, let's hope not.
And what were they doing last year, Steve?
They sailed the Lumix last year.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, they're right.
They're three really nice boys from the Shire, and they're the type of person we're trying to attract to the club. And look, they're doing it well here. I think they're looking really solid.
They were doing a good job at times last year also.
They were. Spasmodically, they were doing, they're very difficult boats to sail, as you all know. And look at them now, the camera's on them.
Yeah, the only time they look uncomfortable is when it gets wriggly and downrange. They haven't quite got that resolve, which I'm not saying is easy, but it's pretty important.
Oh, absolutely it is, but as you know, Bucko, that comes with time on the water and a bit of experience together. But
they look very composed when they're fully pressured, but and a bit less than that. And the sail trim's pretty good. They haven't mucked around. They can get upwind pretty well.
I've got some new sails from Coco this year as well. And they look pretty nice.
All right, so the Rags setting up now.
He's round. He goes to the shortest distance mark, whereas the kitchen maker goes to the middle distance one. So
that's happy days.
Huge advantage now.
Yeah.
I think double their lead. Yeah. The kitchen maker went in to the right
and a good set. Oh yeah.
Have that much pressure. There's the Rag running away with the white spinnaker. Here he's well ahead. On the water at the moment, it's Lumix 3rd, is it? I think Panasonic.
That's
just
so.
Smeg. I think the boys that went to Bradley's Head, Warwick, got absolutely hammered there.
Yeah, Vintech didn't do too good. Yeah. They sort of went out of phase. They were the first to go there, and they went a long way in. It didn't look pretty, but.
Oh well, Steve. The other thing we've noticed with these newly put together crews and younger crews, they often can sail very well for the first hour, and then as it ticks over into minute 61, things start getting untidy for various reasons. Concentration, commitment, I don't know, but you often see them getting wriggly in the last lap for sure.
It's an interesting observation from a more experienced sailor such as yourself, but I think they call that the millennial disease, don't they? Yeah, a lack of concentration. Perhaps that's also they've been brought up on short races.
ADD and 20 minutes is long enough, right?
That's right.
Okay, guys, just sorry to jump in here, but Lumix was having problems there for a while. Don't know if they're having issues or not. But also, your boys are around in second, Steve.
Yeah, even though they went to the middle mark, they'll still retain second because no one else is near the shortest mark yet. Lumix will probably be next round. He goes to the short mark, first mark. Finport, he goes to the middle mark. He's 4th on the water.
Lumix nicely overstood.
Rag has now a massive lead.
Yeah, they're gone.
I'd say almost put the glasses down. But
Yeah.
Well, they got to be careful down there. There's still those two boats tangled together in the water. They might get, might run into the trap. Bang.
And a VMG run this time. They don't go around the mark at Clark Island. It's going to make their way straight down the course.
Interesting, if I could just point out that the first three boats are youth development boats, and I'm going to put the Kitchen Maker in that if you take me off it. But
But are you
Jordan
are
Gertis,
you taking your fee like you like a management fee? 15%, 20% for life or something?
just like you, was I do it for the love.
yeah.
No, Jordan
Yeah.
Gertis. I'd like
Yeah.
to say a few words about him and his team. Are doing an awesome job on the Lumix.
Is that George's
Jordan? Yeah,
George's son?
Stephen's son.
Stephen's son.
Yeah, I believe.
Sorry, of course.
No. Yeah. So their youth boats are really 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Noakes Youth 4. And I'd also like to acknowledge all the great work that Sean Langman
Yeah.
does. He's a fantastic contributor to the youth development.
Yeah,
he's
he's
run a
done-
boat
well-
at his own expense the last 3 years, Warwick?
This will be third season.
Third
Yes.
season, and
2 years with Ash, and then
Yep.
that youth boat's gone over to Kirk Mitchell from Drummoyne.
Yep. He's
Cherub sailor.
always happy to contribute and help out. He's a fantastic supporter of the class.
Well, he supported Chris Nicholson a lot back in the day, in the early days of the Olympic campaigns, and he just does so much for sailing. All right, what do we got on the monitor there, shippers?
the Triple M
The Triple M.
just going round the short mark.
Okay, Finport's Drive, we're out of here.
Bit of traffic coming our way.
And Asco, I think we're on shot, a long way behind, got hammered. So this could be a tricky run, working out how to get down this run, and it can certainly split the fleet, given that it's a proper VMG run, even though starboard bias,
Down from me.
starboard jibe bias.
Back in the left.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at this, it's just enough north in it that he's nearly laying down with only a small amount of time on port jibe.
Yeah,
How to do it best? Ooh, maybe a visit to Bradley's and a jibe off Bradley's would be the right way. About where Triple M is,
yeah.
you know.
Well, Finport's just in front of them and just having to go through a little bit of pain in the sort of bit of lee of Shark Island, but it probably won't take them too long to get through that.
Now have a look at the bearing now of, not on shot, but coming into shot now, Cooper's and, Kitchen Maker deep at the middle of the harbour bridge, and Cooper's to the right, 30 degrees higher on the same job.
I think the Coopers have gone. I think it's just called the Rag now. Is Cooper still in?
Sorry, the Rag, you're right. You're right. Quite correct.
I want to give the wrong sponsor the plug.
We should look after Mr. Caligaros.
We should. I think he's statistically is our longest term sponsor.
Yeah.
Pete
But-
Nana and took over from George.
He's also still a supporter of the North Sydney Bears, I understand. So he's a patron saint of many causes.
If he's not our longest term, he's one of our longest term, and we're very happy to have them.
I'd say the sponsor of Yandu's been fairly long term.
He's so long-term, Ship. He's in the ancient history book, mate.
We had a good swim today. Became a grandfather for the first time last Sunday.
He was there too, shippers. Not. I rang him, so I got a message from Kerry going, all well, I'm a grandmother now. And I got a call from Woody. I said, you at the hospital? He said, no, I'm at the 18s club. All right. So who we got here? So as you said, Vintech copped a complete hiding, Pete. They were up ahead of, well, they might have gone around different marks, so I've got to be careful there.
That's going to be
Yeah, they did.
No, Vindec went to the short one.
Vintec went to 2 that time.
Oh, 2, I'm sorry,
Middle
yes,
one.
the blue. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So
that's why it's
Made
not.
things a little bit worse.
Yeah, it's sort of can be deceptive.
But a lovely big ship
Yeah,
appropriately coming down the harbour,
Oh,
or
this
going
will
up harbour, right off Bradley's Head.
Extraordinary. We have a
And a ferry and a tug to
40,000 tonne ship coming into Sydney Harbour. The wharfies get paid a lot on Sunday afternoon, don't they?
Bucko, you've got it. You're right across it, brother. Yeah.
To say nothing about how much the tugboat guys get.
Oh,
And there's powerboats galore.
And the fleet having an interesting decision here. The cargo ship going under the harbour bridge and the fleet trying to cross the path.
well, I mean, for the likes of Finport,
Triple M.
Triple M, I mean, their only option is that they're going to have to drive away, otherwise they'll just be parked under that thing for a long time.
And behind the ship there's a ferry ploughing down the harbour as well.
Okay, we're just picking that up on the drone now. That surprised me that Finport, they try to get across? No way. Now they jibe. Getting punished there.
They probably had to jibe anyway, though, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say why they waited so long, because they actually, there's no way they're going to cross that bow, and a very light air.
Well, back on the racetrack, Rag and Famish is just about to round the leeward mark.
God.
He's still got a commanding lead.
So this second lap has really blown up the fleet, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's some real spacings between them now.
The second lap and some traffic, mate. It's just
Chaos.
Sydney Harbour at its wonderful best.
There's a ferry behind this big ship. There's now a tug as well. 5 powerboats.
So we're just starting this little battle here with Triple M, Vintec, DeLonghi, Finport. Breeze has just gone so soft and the water is super rough. Smeg just behind this little group. And this is really the best battle on the racetrack at the moment.
This ship away, the off screen, is going to
I
lock
think-
a few of them out. They've got a ferry ploughing through as well. It's this little group we're with now. It's going to make things very interesting for them.
Well, you know what I think, Pete? I think as the ship slows down, it's basically going to travel down the run at the same speed as this group.
And there's a ferry ploughing through. He's
It's simple.
twice the speed.
It's pretty straightforward, isn't it, really? Unbelievable.
Comes Smeg from astern with real pressure.
Well, they're going to be the winners out of this. So I think Smeg's going to go around the back of the tug. We got it in shot. Yeah, we do. And they're fighting to get around the back there. And then they'll get on the right side of the ship for the run. Where these other guys are going to be, I reckon, just stuck, locked out.
Yep, that's what's happened.
But they'll almost
Vintec,
have to stop.
DeLonghi, Finport and Triple M are really being hammered here.
Yeah, absolutely punished.
And guys, all these guys on port are now below the ley line by quite a long way, looking down the bay. The big bit of nor'east out of Molesman Bay.
Rag and Famish is around, Kitchen Maker's around in second.
So if we go back to the ship, we can see the Smeg has got round the stern of the tug, and they'll just work. It's almost like the harbour's been split. They'll have to work that right-hand lane down there. And
But
I
there's
think
no wind in the other lane here, is there?
No, the whole thing's gone super quiet. Like there's no breeze, and the ship slowed down to maybe, I don't know, 5 knots, and they're locked out. Ilve, Asco getting around the back. So they'll benefit.
If you said to the ship, try and make as big a mess as you can of the fleet, you couldn't have done a better job, really. He's just idling down. The ferry's ploughed through.
Yep, and we're on the Smeg, Asco, Ilve, I think, pick up. They've got good pressure there.
Oh, look at
And then if we pan round to the left chits, we'll pick up the Triple M and DeLonghi just with nothing. Vintech becalmed further out till they're having to go low to avoid another ferry. I remember when I was involved with the International Committee for the Mildred 24s, and I sort of chaired getting the World Championship out here to Australia, and they talked about, can we have it on Sydney Harbour? And I said, you just don't understand. Sydney Harbour is a no-go.
This is
DeLonghi's
brutal.
had to drop their chute.
Yeah, brutal
Get
for
round the
Finport
back.
and
Yeah,
DeLonghi.
Oh, Lord.
Finport's doing the same.
Yeah.
Poor old Vintech off to Garden Island. He's going to be locked out again. He's had about 8 goes
He's
to
gone.
try and get
No,
round.
it's all over.
Poor old Ash. He's had...
Well, that's the thing. They've got to make those decisions, you know. Like here, we've got plenty going on. A lot of boats just starting to head home. And the boats haven't got smaller, Pete, these pleasure boats. And the wakes have not got smaller.
But the drives have got dumber, I think, Warwick. They just got no idea how to respect sailing boats.
Well, they just don't understand. Yeah, Vintech, they might as well stop and have a little lunch out there. So all the boats to the right. So this is just bunched up this group again, and Vintech's been left to hang out to dry. So just to recap, Rag and Famish leads. The Kitchen Maker second. Noakes Sailing may have slipped up into third, or maybe Noakes Youth is inside them actually. Kirk Mitchell having a good race today.
Kitchen Maker's come back into this here.
Yeah.
Just depends what this happens up this beat.
Looks good on the left there.
And who will be fourth? None other than Smeg.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, sixth.
Fifth
sorry.
or sixth, yeah. So we might go down and just watch the drop here of this group, then we'll head back upwind.
Good battle for third. Lumix and the two Noakes boats.
Yep. Well, why don't we go? We haven't had a good look at the two Noakes boats, so we might just go and have a look at that and have a look at Kirk Mitchell and then his boss.
Look at the heading Rags on up there.
Yeah.
He's got big left-hand pressure.
And a bit of high left here for Noakes. Wow. And wow.
So again, this is one of our other youth boats, the Noakes Youth, with Kirk Mitchell, Daniel Barnett and Tim Westwood doing a great job today, battling it out with Sean.
Yep.
A lot of left there, but Barnett, son Daniel.
So Noakes Sailing, Sean Langman, they just got a big header then, and the young bloke's just got a nice little bit of leverage. This water is crazy, it's just so bumpy. Big bit of north up here, Bucko.
Yeah, just enough.
Past Bradley's.
Just enough rotation, and then wow! But watch it.
Yeah, but
Hard work.
Rags in a monster left-hander there.
Yeah, it looks like a bit. Looks like a bit permanent here, was, yeah? The rag leading the race
Yes.
in front of where we are, just laying up nearly to the windward mark on port. That will change, but look at Nugs. Wow.
Oh, we want to be careful in there. We on that? No, we're on.
Yeah, we're on
Panasonic.
We're in the zone of
and
death here.
Notes sailing. But yeah, this is happy days or the death zone. Just got to get through that funky bit of water if we can get back on the Noak sailing, and they've just gone bow down, no pressure.
Yeah.
And don't go backwards, boys. And then there's a big squirrely one about 20 metres in front of them.
Yeah, so all the gain he got from being hard left just got given back right there.
Exactly.
And that tells you that there's a fair bit of north in the wind.
Yep, the lee under the Bradleys there.
Yeah.
We got hammered there, poor old Noakes Youth.
Yeah, they're just not getting out of here, are they, Pete?
No, the other two are coming round their bow.
Yes.
Noakes Sailing and Lumix.
Yeah.
Just
Got smacked.
And, the Coopers the Rag and Famish that's leading did a pretty nice job, just gauged it about right to get out of here and didn't suffer anywhere near like that. So that's given them another 20 or 30 seconds. They now lead by probably nearly 2 minutes, I would suggest.
Yeah, and that's a bit of luck of the draw, right, Bucko?
Oh, yeah, a bit of
when you
phasing,
arrive
phasing and a bit of luck,
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the angle difference between here and the kitchen maker. They just still sailing
Kitchen Maker didn't
nicely.
get much left at all across there, Steve, did he?
No, they unfortunately on the
Sailed
low
like a
side
header
of that
most
one,
of the time.
There's been like a 30-degree shift to the left, and they're still sailing in the easterly. The other guys are in the northeaster. But the Rag have done a
Big
beautiful
left
job.
here. These three boats that were in camera now, Lumix, Noakes Youth and Noakes Sailing, are all in good left-hand shift. The Kitchen Maker's right in double bay. They're coming right round him at the moment. It's going to be a tough one back on starboard for the Kitchen Maker. But meanwhile, Rags keeps on keeping on. She will this time go to the middle mark, Rag, while Noakes Youth and Lumix will go to the shorter mark, the first mark. But I think Rag will still have enough up her sleeve to maintain the lead.
But this might be enough to get Noakes Youth on the podium.
Yes, Noakes Youth goes to the short mark,
Yes.
and
Then Noakes Sailing.
Noakes Sailing goes to the middle mark, the blue mark.
Yeah.
So yes, I would think it will get him if things stay the same, although the Kitchen Maker, you'd probably have to say, has dropped 3 places here.
It's going to be tough for them to cross from down there. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
It's gone right east-northeast, nearly northeast here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just for the viewers, guys, the rest of the course is just up to the Windward Mark and Double Bay and a run to the finish, VMG run. So not many passing opportunities, except that the run involves probably about 5 or 6 jibes. So as long as they can maintain execution on the race leaders, it shouldn't be too much of a trouble. But a good battle for the other 2 seats on the podium.
And Noakes Sailing, Sean and Reese, Pete, coming right around the bow of Kirk and the boys on the youth boat. So they've just got a beautiful little lift then.
You wouldn't write Lumix out of this because he goes to the shorter mark. They're lifting right around Rag and Famish.
Yes.
It's going to be punishing coming back on starboard, as we're seeing the Kitchen Maker doing that now off Point Piper.
That's right. They've actually made quite big inroads. I don't know if they're trying nowhere on Noakes Sailing, trying to pick it up.
Although they'll probably head as they go in, do you think, Andrew? Slightly?
Yeah, no, it'll bend back. And I would think that Kitchenmaker will still be in touch with these other 3 boats.
He's goes to the middle of the 3 marks as well. Lumix is still up high on port.
Yeah, he's about to hit the wall, Pete, the Lumix.
So we might slip up behind the Kitchenmaker and get a view back.
Rags on a massive header going into
Yeah, but they're going to come back all right.
eastern side of Point Piper. Yeah, they'll come out fine.
So look at the Lumix.
Well, out of shot, the Lumix had a shocker, just about gone in backwards and has actually tacked them. That's how bad it was.
40-degree header.
Yeah, well, the Kitchenmaker's done well here again.
Yeah.
He's lifted now. He's didn't look good for a while, but he's got the right-hand pressure, and he'll still be second, I think.
Oh, I think Langman.
No, the other Noakes boat will be second, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Kitchenmaker will be third, I think, after Lumix gets going again. So
Yeah.
nice tricky lesson there. Big header, be ready.
It's almost a gust by gust proposition here. Depends who's up and who's down. The Kitchenmaker's just got a nice little right-hander, but Sean's come through really well.
Lumix has got rolling again.
And of course, when we get up to the top mark, the Lumix goes and the Noakes Youth go to the short marks, and Kitchenmaker and Rag and Famish go to the blue middle marks. So it's going to be an interesting race. It's not over yet, folks.
well, there's the cross. Kitchenmaker going on starboard has crossed behind Noakes Sailing and Lumix. He'll be just in front of Noakes Youth. Oh, Kitchenmaker, almost an involuntary tack there.
No, he saw how big the header was and just rushed the tack, but he had to.
Yeah.
He had to.
Well, Lumix is the boat that's in the box seat here. Well, not the box seat, but he goes to the short mark, and he's right in the mix here.
Yeah.
And the Rag and Famish has had to get it out of cruise control, I can tell you.
And I think the Lumix has won a race, and they've got to be right up in the points, are they? Where are they in the point score, if you get a chance?
They're second on points.
Yeah, so they could put them
Behind
into the lead.
Finport. So, yeah, could well do.
So,
It's exciting. I think any one of these 5 boats could take it out here.
yeah. Well, it's so puffy, isn't it? I mean, breezes up and down heaps in velocity and angle.
Lumix has had a pretty good boat. They've been a bit careful and not done any in-backwards type stuff, except for one little moment. But Steve, I reckon, you'd always have to consider in this wind, it's always just puff by puff, isn't it? It's just, the structure is so, complex, and you just have to try to tack in a puff, not tack in a lull, but work every little small bit of wind you can find and try and hook them all together to make a beat. Look at the Kitchenmaker now. Wow.
Yeah, that's very astute observation. I mean, there's probably 20 degrees difference between the Kitchenmaker and then Noakes Youth on the left, and a mighty left-hander. But it's interesting breeze today, Bucko. I mean, the easterlies dominated, but the nor'easter in this last lap really is trying to come over the top of it. So, and it hasn't mixed properly. So there are big lulls and big lefties and big righties. But
yeah, it's a bit weird. Sort of structurally, it's a bit like Rose Bay's a separate bit of water to Sydney Harbour, and so the Wyndham Mark's in Rose Bay. The fleet travels up Sydney Harbour, which has got a bit of funneling east-nor'east in it, whereas this is more easterly, obviously. And the two aren't mixing together that well, so there's nothing smooth about it at all.
It's always difficult at this end of the course in an easterly, but it's particularly difficult today, I think.
Yeah, I think that's dead right.
Noakes Youth, now the boat that's...
Noakes Youth has picked the last bit pretty well, I
put his
reckon.
nose in front. Yep. Talking about picking things,
And we on that, just on our bow.
He's to the short mark as well, as is Lumix.
And he looks like he's nearly laying.
All the other three,
he crosses.
Rag and Famish, Kitchenmaker and Noakes Sailing, are all to the middle mark, or the blue mark.
So Noakes Youth will take the lead here.
If he rounds, yeah, he will for sure.
So they might be on for their first win.
Lumix will be second because they're at short mark as well. Noakes Youth, well done. Good job there.
Yep.
He's round and on his way to the finish.
Squeeze around. Now, Lumix has done a good job as well.
Just got pressure. Lumix are coming into the mark.
And Noakes Sailing's got back into it up to...
Now, Steve, what have you been teaching him about the Windward Mark Barroway, mate? Let's...
Just don't lose it. Keep the mast vertical. No, keep it as flat as possible. Accelerate away from the mark. You know, just keep it smooth, really. You don't have to be the fastest. Just don't do anything silly.
It always used to entertain us a bit when I sailed that there was a belief from a lot of guys in the class you had to go around the Windward Mark with the vang on hard. And that took a long while to be eradicated. Strange.
Yeah, no, our procedure is vang off, cutting them off, get down the back, and hang on.
Vang off and Cunningham. Wow, okay.
Yeah,
All right, good.
We can.
Good. Lumix driving onto the face of a good bit of wind here. And Noakes Youth on the same puff. So I think they're first and second to the finish line, guys.
So that's Noakes Youth with the white spinnaker, Lumix with the black spinnaker. They are first and second. Third is Rag and Famish. Fair way back now because they had to go to that middle or furthest distance mark. You'd probably have to say that Noakes Youth and Lumix at this stage will be fighting it out.
Well, I think we'll follow that battle, Pete.
Yeah.
That's going to be the battle for the win, I believe.
Rag and Noakes sailing back a bit. The kitchen maker dropped off a bit there. He's back in fifth spot.
Well, Ship, I think the camera cat's won today, though, easily, really. We've been on every good angle, haven't we?
So Noakes Youth having to go up to avoid a 12. They're in lighter air. Lumix is in better air, but they're just getting through that bit of funky air behind Shark Island, then they'll punch out the new pressure. But I like what Lumix has done. They've just sort of got a little bit more down mode, V&G mode, earlier than Noakes Youth, and maybe just be able to sort of, when they drive inside, here we go.
Lumix with starboard tack rights, they'll cross ahead.
So they set up for
They're
the
gonna
drive
jibe in
standard
front.
move.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, hang on, boys.
Did we talk about execution, Steve?
A little bit of nervousness there, I think.
Yeah.
They can see greatness. No, look, I've got to say that Jordan Gertis is away kiteboarding today, and Lockie Doyle's taken it on. So not only do we have a youth crew, we've got a novice skipper. So let's see how he goes from here to the finish. I think we've got two novice crews.
I think novice might be overstating it a fraction, mate.
Well, let's put it, I think this is his first race.
He's
here.
clearly sailed before.
Clearly sailed before. He's very, very good at it, but it's his first steering race. So, and look, this is a neck-and-neck battle with them and the youth guys. A bit of a jibing duel going on
Yeah,
here.
fantastic.
It's fantastic to see.
And what could possibly go wrong, I always say.
They both jibed in tandem there.
And both with good jibes.
Advantage now to Lumix. Got rights. The other guy can't really jibe. They're probably, if they jibe, they're overlapped. And Lumix has the choice, I think, here.
So Lumix has been a race winner as well. Oh, yeah, of course we said that, yeah. So they've been a race winner.
That's
So
Noakes
it's
Youth
Noakes
we're on
Youth.
now with a white spinnaker. And finishing lines.
Just
About-
one more good jibe angle, Pete.
Yep.
Have we got it in us?
We've got about 400 metres
Gone
dead
quite
downwind.
quite soft. Noakes Youth has got a good push down that Lumix
across
hasn't
his
got.
bow, yeah.
Almost getting across their bow.
Almost, he is across, I think.
He couldn't jibe and cross him, though.
No, not yet.
It's almost
Not
a
yet.
dangerous.
There it is.
Okay.
Lumix is bailing out. Okay.
Lumix thinks he can nearly lay. Oh, it's a terrible jibe from Lumix, though.
So what do
Noakes
you
has got to
do?
come with him.
What would you guys do? Would you have kept going there?
Yeah, it's always hard for the guy jibing. You just wait. I'd wait till you get to the lay
exactly.
line and jibe.
So
We'll
you've got
see.
a long way to go down unless
He's going to lay. I think he's got a good header. He's got a good
Yes.
header. I think he's going to
Okay.
lay.
So we'll just chase that
Or
right down.
very close to laying, anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, they're the two race leaders. It's neck and crop here.
Noakes Youth,
You'd have to say Noakes Youth at the moment would be.
Yeah, what's the
Would be in
bias
front.
here, boys? I think it's pin bias.
Yeah, Noakes is right.
Lumix gets new pressure.
Lumix has got the pressure now, but I think Noakes is going to do it.
Going to be close.
It's going to be very close.
The line ball, guys.
We'll get on the transit here. It's going
Very
to be
close.
there's nothing
Very close.
in this. Nothing in this.
No, Noakes Youth. Just going to do it. Noakes Youth.
Yep.
Yeah, terrific race.
Yeah,
1,
fantastic.
2, 3,
Really
4
good.
seconds in it.
Yep. Excellent.
Terrific race. Noakes Youth first, Lumix second, and looks like Rag and Famish will come in third spot.
So that's 6 winners from 6 races.
Fantastic.
Your
Youth
system's
both 1
working,
and 2,
Steve.
mate.
Yeah.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. Youth both 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
No, well done to Kirk Mitchell, Daniel Barnett and Tim Westwood. Well done to Kirk Mitchell, Daniel Barnett and Tim Westwood. Awesome job. Really good. And on the Lumix we had Lachlan Doyle, Ricky Plain and Michael Vincent. And the Rag sailed very well, I thought. They were a little bit unlucky up the last work and unfortunately fell foul of the handicap system at the red mark, blue mark. And, but they can take a lot away from today. I think they sailed really well.
Yeah, and Steve, you know, last week they in lighter air they you know seemed to be really trouble when it got downrange, and I'm sure they've thought about it through the week, but and some tweaks as you point out, but they were certainly in the race all day today.
Sean Langman coming in 4th. He's got a really good looking rig, I think. Like his setup's very, very nice.
What sort of crew weight we got there, Steve? Are you across that?
On Sean's boat?
Yeah.
Maybe in the 240, 250 mark.
At the lighter end of the range, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not what you'd call light. I think we wrap out at about 235, so we're on the light side in the kitchen maker, but Sean will be sort of high 240s, I'd suggest. So well done to my boys today. Scotty Babbage did an awesome job, and Tom and Sam. I think they'd be very happy with the 5th.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. They had a couple of opportunities, but still a pretty tricky day, and you'd imagine that anybody that got anywhere near the front today would be happy. And the Ascos fought back from fullback. Now, I haven't seen the Smeg for a minute. Guys, any view?
No, I don't. I don't know what's happened to them.
Seem to have vanished off the racetrack.
Yeah. I think I can see them on the beach. In fact, I can.
Well, that would be why they'd vanished off the racetrack.
Yeah.
But why they vanished?
We don't know. How long? Not a super long race, sort of a normal amount. I think it's about an hour 20 for these races normally.
That last beat was nearly a one-legger, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Those boats that hooked a bit left.
Yeah, pretty quick last beat.
Yeah. So just watching Asco come in now, and
Finport?
Finport. I think
Keegan York's done another good job this week. He's going well. As you said, Bucko, the Ascos come back from a long way back to claim 6th or 7th, maybe 6th. This is going to be another close finish.
Okay, well, a beautiful day on the harbour. Lovely sailing conditions, a nice 8 to 10 knot east nor'easter. And the result was that Noakes Youth was first, Lumix second, Rag and Famish third, Noakes sailing 4th, and the Kitchen Maker 5th. So we thank Steve Quigley and really get a good insight into their program about youth development at the 18s. I'm sure Steve will be out next week back at the helm of the Kitchen Maker, so thanks, Steve. Bucko, thank you. Not much weather to report on today, Bucko. You say you couldn't get that wrong.
Clear sky, fair winds.
That's right. Okay, and Warwick, Captain Warwick, thank you. So on behalf of all the team that work behind the scenes, we thank you all, and we'll see you on the harbour next Sunday.
Camera cat standing by.